Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
7, 8 wins in a row. I'm losing track because they are just absolutely dominating teams.
It's
when they
8.
get off to
They're going for 9 tonight.
Going for 9 tonight. Now, this will be the real test, though, Jay, because, yes, Giannis is back. They have their whole team. What type of emotion are you expecting from the Bucks tonight after they fire their coach? They're reportedly going to hire, and Woj had this earlier, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, that they will hire Doc Rivers. The difference between the Cavs back in 2016 and the Milwaukee Bucks of 2023-2024, two differences. One, the coach that we brought in was already here and knew these players, had played against some of them, including LeBron James. Now you're bringing in a coach that has no semblance, has not even had a chance to put his philosophy on this team. Will he keep some of the assistants? Does he know some of the assistants? Will he be able to work with those assistants tonight?
Is he overrated?
Is he overrated? Is he someone that is, still living off of a 2008 championship with the Celtics, and every other team he's been with since has had epic collapses in the playoffs? Yes, that is Doc Rivers. Now, Doc Rivers will forget more basketball than I will ever know, and he still is a really good coach, and I understand why the Bucks did this. But Jay, tonight, the energy from this team, they'll have their interim head coach, one of the assistants, Joe Prunty, coaching. I know he's done it a few different times. I don't know how this team is going to react, especially going through that big of a change, that big of a news story just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have no idea how they're going to react. It's going to tell you a lot about what that team is and what they might do this year. I believe that. But, I mean, I can't believe they fired that dude. They didn't, and they were, in second place?
Second place? I mean, again, you can go back to the precedent set here is you can go back to the Cavs in 2016. And, the Cavs had 30 wins at that time as well. I think they were first in the East, if not maybe second, just like the Bucks are. They were in good standing during that season.
So it's hard for me to say because I don't watch Bucks games. I'm not going to get on here. We always keep it a buck. I ain't going to get on here and lie. I don't watch the Bucks. I can barely watch the Cavs. I got to watch them on the ESPN app and just read what they're doing. But I hope that they come out flat tonight. I want the W, and at the same time, I'd like to see them come out energized and playing hard and give this Cavs team a good test during this win streak. Because if they come out on their fire and we come out, we are on fire, and when they punch us in the mouth, we punch them right back. I mean, that's a hell of a sign for the Cavs.
It is. And the Cavs, again, they've been dominating teams in the first quarter. The last
Isn't there an awkward stat? Like they've only trailed 35 seconds
35
during this
seconds.
Win. That's insane. I don't care who you're playing. That is insane.
Because you're playing against other professional players. So, it takes a lot to get to the professional ranks as a pro athlete, whether on the men's or the women's side of anything. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes effort. It takes a certain skill level that, most of the people that love sports will never understand or never experience that type of God-given, however you want to say it, type talent. And yet the Cavs only trailed 35 seconds. Now, is that going to stay the same? No, I expected they're going to trail at some point in this game tonight. And, again, you have two games there. The biggest element to the way that the NBA is scheduling some of these games now, I don't like that we are playing the Bucks, a division opponent, 3 times within a week and a half. Like that doesn't make any sense. We just played them last week without Giannis. We beat them by 40. Now people can say, but they didn't have Giannis.
Well, we didn't have Mobley or Garland.
Right. And the Bucks had Chris Middleton. They had Dame Lillard, who, it's always supposed to be Dame time out there on the floor. You shouldn't be, with guys like the Bucks have without Giannis, you should not be being beat by 40. And I think that's the difference in culture and why the Bucks may have felt that they needed to make a change. Their offense was ranked in the bottom third of the league. It seemed like certain nights they would pick and choose when to play. They could score 145 on you, but they're not defending. They're not always giving the full effort on both ends of the floor.
Kevin, if they come out and they are flat tonight after losing to us by 40 and getting a coach firing, and they come out flat, I mean, what do you think about that Bucks team if that happens?
If who comes out flat?
The Bucks. They come out flat after losing to us last time and by 40. Like, we beat them up. They should be pretty mad. You think, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to come back and get you for that. And they got a coaching change, which supposedly should be a good thing. And they don't and we beat them again soundly with Giannis.
Yeah.
What does that say about that team?
I mean, luckily the NBA season is long enough where Doc Rivers has some time to still get his, and they can win on talent alone, which the Cavs couldn't do when they played with this type of mentality, this type of effort. What we're seeing now is the old school JB Bickerstaff mentality. Outwork the other team. But guess what? You're outworking the other team with still a lot of talent without two of your top 4 players on the floor. That is what I've always wanted to see. And now they're moving the ball more. It's about a team mentality. We'll talk in the next segment about Darius and a couple other storylines around this team, because I do want to get into that. I want to tell you guys, I want to explain to Peter and Jay the title idea I had for tonight, but couldn't go with it because even they wouldn't understand it, let alone everyone else out there, until I actually explained it here on the show. So we'll get to that on the other side of the break. But if the Bucks team comes out flat, Jay, I mean, they're playing again on Friday. And if Doc Rivers is able to coach them, then maybe that's, they've seemed to just flip this switch. Like, we want to play this night. We don't want to play that night. Cavs hit us with a big run to start the last game. We just kind of shut down the engines pretty quickly there, because we still think that we're the better team when it all comes down to it. And we got to play teams in 7-game series. Like, no one's going to beat us 4 times out of 7. Bad habits tend to, and we've seen this in Cleveland, Jay. Thank you.
I was just about to say it.
Bad habits, bad mindsets that you think you can just flip the switch and get out of. The 2016 Cavaliers are the exception. I keep bringing them up, but they are the exceptions to the rule. There are exceptions to rules or exceptions to trends. A lot of times, bad habits, bad mindsets that have been allowed to filter into a team now past the halfway point of games. Teams have already passed that 41 game mark. Boy, those are a lot harder to get rid of once you pass that halfway mark than they are to just sink in and be exactly who you're going to be.
Yep. Dude, I was going to say it. Sometimes this happens on our show and I'm like, well, I got nothing to say because Kevin just took all the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry. Sometimes
when you're good, you're good. Hey, great minds think alike. But
I'm humbled by those words.
That's why I even brought the question up to you. And I mean, I hope they do. I don't want the Bucks to do good. I hope they establish all these bad habits, so when we play them in the playoffs, we could put a whooping on them and they catch them sleeping, kind of like what happened to us in the playoffs last year. Although I don't think that team, it was because of established bad habits. I think they played tough all year. I think he said it. The bright lights were too bright for them at the moment. I hope now they learn from that and they continue on to learn and don't make the same mistakes.
I feel like that's a deeper discussion for another day. But I would disagree with you in the sense that, it's one thing to get punched in the mouth in the regular season, and then you get your doors blown off because things just aren't going right for a quarter or a half, and a team gets up big on you. And you're expending all this energy to even try to get back in the game. And at some point, you just hit a wall. And it tends to happen more often than it doesn't. You rarely see big comebacks like that. But it's another thing when you get punched in the mouth and you still have more games and you still don't respond. Like, at some point, that manhood, that's why it was so disappointing. Your manhood, your pride, whatever you did. And there were games last year where that happened to the Cavaliers, where they were outworked and things like that. And they just thought that they could use the talent that they had put all together now, all this young talent. They just thought it was going to continue to get them where they wanted to go. I think the injuries to Garland and Mobley have shown this team that isn't the case.